Everyone's quiet. I know I speak loud enough for everyone to hear me, but I hate holding a microphone in my hands.
I'll hold it for you.
Anyway, I just wanted to thank, obviously, thank everyone for coming out today and whatnot. But the reason why we're having this picnic, this gathering, is that for one way or another, we've actually survived as a group for 10 years. I'm not sure how we actually managed to make that happen. Yeah, kind of. I mean, we've come a long way. I mean, in 2004, ultimately was the original board of Bob, Terry, Christine Rojak, Tom Scarfa, one of the original ones. Nicole Beck and Barry. They took the energy that was Pier Walk, and as that kind of that void became a void. It's like, what's next? And so they're the ones that actually got together and decided to create a little more of a structure and bring us in tighter as a community, specifically to the region. And then, once that idea came about, it's like, what's next? Or how do we actually really formalize ourselves as a group? And so the conversation came out to tether the group with the ISC. And so at that point, we became their first chapter. And so, and at this point, we're still have a relationship with them, and we're actually working on expanding that relationship finally, and making it more beneficial for both groups. And we'll talk more about that, not so much today, but in the next meeting coming up. But over this 10 years, the first few years, the first 5 or 6 years, when that things were a little slow. We were more just literally more of a social club. We did a handful of biennials, a couple of indoor shows, a little bit of outdoor. Doing our shows at Flat File, Oakton College, which were all good starts. 6 to the 3rd, playing with Art Chicago for a number of years and doing the booth exhibitions, and different installations outdoors along the merchandise mart. Really well, obviously, where we really kind of kicked up a gear was a couple years ago for the ISC conference here in Chicago, and so obviously the really nailing down our relationship with the Chicago Parks District, partly with the Lakefront show, what was that, 58 pieces, and then the installation experiment, Form and Flora, and so our different shows that Vivian's put together at the conservatories over the last few years. The explosion that's happened down at the Bridgeport Arts Center, and the way they've actually really kind of dominated that end of the town, but our ability to be able to collaborate with them both for the indoor and the outdoor shows. And so, that brings us pretty much up to now. And so we decided as a board that it's like with it being our 10-year anniversary, that if we can't make a name for ourselves now, we can't really just bring ourselves up to the attention of that, so the city actually knows who we are, other than, what is that odd object out on the corner next to my house? So some of you may know, but might not know, and so with that, we chose to hire a PR firm for the starting in April and up through this fall. Carol Fox and Associates, they're the top arts PR firm in the city, and so hired them to mainly focus on, as much as we would have liked to have hired them for the full chunk of time and stuff like that, we decided to focus on our current biennial at the Elks National Memorial, the Tree Show, which is ongoing right now, that a number of people are involved with, but in particular, Fargo and Carolyn have been instrumental in really spearheading and executing that show. But we did a trolley tour, press tour on Thursday with them, and we actually wound up having 12 different news agencies, NBC, ABC, CBS, Fox News. We did Whole Vision. We got a couple Insight. We did a Chicago TV last week. We did a radio, WGN radio earlier this week, and so we're getting all this this huge press. And as we've been talking to the reporters, they're like, "Who are you? How long have you guys been around?" Like, "Oh, this is actually our 10th year anniversary." And suddenly they're like, "Oh, we've never heard of you." But it's like, well, here we are. We're trying to change that. But then when you start talking about what shows we've done, the Lakefront show, the Boulevard shows, the booths, and merchandise, well, exactly. So, and then they're like, the light bulb goes on. It's like, oh, we've known you guys for years. We just didn't know who you were. So it's great that now they do know who we are. And so we're hopeful that, along with our relationship with the PR firm, but even when we're not directly involved with them, that now when we do our press releases and it goes across their desks, not just immediately off to the circular file, that we'll hopefully be able to get a little bit more of attention. We'll have to be careful not to just bludgeon them with too many shows, because ultimately we are gearing up from doing 1 or 2 little shows a year and stuff to doing 4, 5, 6 shows a year, both indoor and outdoor. And we're hoping to escalate that number as well as we move on. And so the next big thing we're working with the Parks District, or not the Parks District, but the PR firm, is our fundraiser at the end of October. It's going to be at the Elks Memorial. We've been able to extend the show till the end of October for that, and so basically it'll be our closing. And as opposed to the model of doing a like art auction, type thing that we've done in the past for our fundraisers, this one's going to be more installation, performative, more about getting people in for a little bit higher ticket price, and that's not higher ticket price for necessarily for us, but it's like going to get people outside, sponsors and vendors to come in and actually start throwing money our way, so we can actually continue to do what we want to do. And so we'll need a lot of help actually gearing up over the next couple of months. And again, we'll have more conversations about jumping onto that committee as we move forward with that. But some of the upcoming projects, in 2015, I've been working with the Chicago Zoo. We're going to be, actually the call for that looks like it's going to come out probably the end of fall for a show that will install next April, and it'll be probably about 20 pieces that will be integrated along the zoo grounds and animal installations. Both of them out in the public paths, some of them in working pieces directly into the garden spaces within the zoo as well. Also, just to continue our collaboration with the Chicago Parks District. The trees are going extremely well. They've actually already approached us, and we're going to try to gear up and do an additional 5. We did 10 trees so far. I guess 8 are finished, 2 are about to start, but they want us to do an additional 5 before Thanksgiving. And then, because they have funding for that immediately, but we're really hoping that show to become a yearly thing, and whether it's 15, 20 trees a year, I think. And then, along with the Boulevard Show and some different things, and then some new collaborations with them. And then, actually, one of the newest opportunities that's coming up, and this kind of goes hand in hand with our conversations with the ISC. We're going to gear up and do a show at the Grounds for Sculpture a year from now, and that'll be the 3 chapters will be involved, and that'll be a show of probably 15 to 20 pieces, and it'll be most likely probably an indoor show. And then actually a current call just went out for the Denver airport. Should have just got a newsletter on that the last couple of days. And so that's, the bulk of what's, everything that's been going on, and so in the grand scheme of things, it's a lot in 10 years. And in particular, probably 90% of that's really happened in the last 4 years. So here we are 10 years later. I think we are much larger group, stronger group. And really, the strength of our group is it's it's great that we do these exhibitions, but this is actually what makes our group. This is what gives us, the flavor, the intensity, it's the interactions, the collaborations that we do amongst ourselves is the strength of our group. And it's like when we can truly draw on this energy, I think that's what's going to allow us to, truly jump up to the next level, whatever that may be. Certainly on the national level, if not international. Take advantage of the fact that we actually have international in our name and actually make something of that. So anyway, so that's the main spiel. I just again wanted to thank everyone for their help for the last 10 years, and but also as a spiel that now we need even more help. It's like get it, active on your committees. I know we'll do a push for committees, a bunch of people will jump on, show up for 1 or 2 meetings, and then kind of filter out, and it still winds up being just the handful of main people. The board is obviously working as hard as we can to further our mission, our mandate, but at the same time, we burn out as well, and so we're ultimately looking for fresh leadership, who's going to help take us on, fresh energy to take us on to the next level. With that said, we're working with a couple different agencies around in the city that are helping us locate and identify board members. In particular, we're looking for board members that are not artists, just so we can have a different point of view and a little bit broader conversation as opposed to just a bunch of sculptors on the board. I mean, we are a sculpture organization, and so that will always be our core. But we do need some, varying opinions and approaches. Again, just kind of broaden the conversation, so we're not just talking amongst ourselves.
Me.
Huh? Well, there's a lot of that, and so. But as an open call for the people that are here and/or people that didn't make it to the picnic, I do actually have some applications with me. If you are interested to jump up and maybe take on a role within the board, you can get an application for me. Or if you're interested, or if you think about it in a week from now and it comes to mind, I'll be glad to email it to you, and then we'll review them and we'll see how we go from there. But ultimately, it's like, the board is enthusiastic. We've been here for you, and we're going to continue to be here for you, but we're not going to be here forever. It's like, we're not the original board, and we're not going to be the last board that runs this group. So anyway, just want to give everyone a big hand. Thank you for.
That we decided that there's too much food out here that people may still want to eat to put the dessert out here. So the dessert is in the dining room. And
I want to say something. Now I missed your first minute. So what I wanted to say is thanks everybody for coming. Donna is our hostess, and her husband Victor is here somewhere. Mike Helding built a cooker to smoke our chicken. Mr. Yost has been working the grill. The music that we've been listening to. And then